Silly mistakes. That's the number one reason people gave to me when I was an SAT tutor, and I think it's the biggest cop-out answer ever. I think it's actively hurting your score, and the reason why is because when you say that you made a silly mistake, you take away responsibility from your mistake and instead blame it on something like chance, luck, a force of nature, right? So you're taking away responsibility, and because of that, you don't really look to analyze the mistake. You don't really think why did I make this mistake? Will I make the same mistake in the future, right? You don't do any of that because you blame it on something silly. My name is Tiagi, and the August SAT is in less than 2 weeks, and one of the big mistakes I think people make is they don't really care about the mistakes enough. So in this video, right, I want to predict what mistakes I think many people will make on the August SAT, right? The biggest places people lose points. And once you know these mistakes, right, once you know these traps, you can figure out, what you're prone to, right? What mistakes do you actively or a lot of times make? And then once you know that information based on this video, you can then try to be more, cautious around that, right? If you see a question, right, and you think you make these type of mistakes, try to be more cautious about that. Or you can try to actually actively fix it, right? Because for each of these mistakes in this video, right, I'm gonna actually go through how you can actually fix this, what's a remedy for making this silly mistake, okay? And so if we look at the idea of a silly mistake, right, there's three main categories, and I think these categories basically encompass every type of mistake. You have, a reading error, a thinking error, and an execution error. So we'll start over here, right? A reading error is basically when you read a question, you read the question incorrectly, or you read the answer choice incorrectly, right? Somewhere you miss something, and there's something wrong. So the first type of reading error is when you overlook a keyword in the question or in the answer, usually the question, but these keywords can often be extreme words, things like not, except, least, right? The things that are uppercase and meant for you to read, or they can often just be little things that are just important for you to know for answering the question, right? And this is usually for reading, but also goes for math as well. And so the fix, right? How can you make sure you know these keywords and that you're actually understanding what the question's asking, right? Really read the question first, right? I think that's the best way, because then you know exactly what the question's asking, and make sure you note down key things about the question, right? Key ideas and stuff to know that you're actually answering what it's saying and not overlooking something important, right? On a piece of paper, right? You have a piece of paper for both reading and math. Just write down key things. Other thing is, another reading error would be answering the wrong question, right? This happens so many times, right? People get to a question and they they're going fast or anxious, and so then they they'll answer the right question, right? They don't really do this process of reading it carefully enough, and then they answer the wrong question. And so, for example, right, in the math section, right, a lot of times the question doesn't ask you just solve for x, right? It'll ask you to solve for x plus 2. So people, right, they solve the question, right? They're just like focusing on that, so they forget that the question's asking for this. Or another example would be for a reading question, right? Finding a small idea instead of the main idea, right? Picking a small part instead of the whole passage. So always, right, whenever you finish a question, this is my recommendation. I did this when I was taking SAT as well, right? Double check that your answer answers the question, right? It's pretty simple, right? But just do a quick double check at the end to make sure that your answer answers the question, right? And if you did this first part correctly, right, making sure you know the question, then this process of double checking shouldn't take very long, because you know what the question is asking, the keywords, and so you're able to kind of verify pretty quickly. And finally, last reading error is misreading a passage. This is a reading and writing error. It could also be a math error too, because some of them are kind of reading passages in their own right. But basically with this one, right, the error is that you misread it and you make inferences, right? You make assumptions about the passage, right? And the key idea here is that every question on SAT is subjective, right? There will always be only one answer. There will never be multiple answers. There's always one answer. Okay, don't make inferences, because inferences, that's something that's subjective, right? But every question on the SAT, that's not subjective, it's objective, right? It's only one answer. So the fix, right? Read the question first, right? Like I said before, read that first. So when you're going to the passage, you know what to look for. Then really pay attention to transition words too, because these transition words tell you kind of how the passage is changing ideas, right? Whether a change is changing, flipping idea or something like that, right? And my favorite trick is doing active reading. So I mentioned this before in my other videos, a whole playlist of SAT videos, which I'll leave in the description below. So basically, active reading is when you take a piece of paper, and as you're reading passage, sentence by sentence, you kind of write down little notes on the piece of paper, right? And these notes don't have to be like a summary of the passage, right? All they have to be is like very short words, maybe like arrows and stuff, just things to like kind of, show that you're actively reading, actively processing it. And by doing this, it makes it way faster because A, you don't have to reread stuff because you kind of like have that baseline knowledge, and B, it also helps you kind of get not distracted, which I think is the main thing why people misread passages, right? Because they get distracted. So active reading, right, taking small notes, I think can really help. Okay, next, the thinking error. So the first type of thinking error is, the sounds right mistake, right? This often happens when people think that, it feels right because it sounds familiar, the answer choice, or maybe, it's well worded, or it just, the words sound right or something. Or for grammar, right, people often just read the sentence with the word inside, and then they think, it reads well, it reads right in my head, which, sometimes works. But for some questions, they know you're doing that, which is why they kind of trick you up there. So the key is, for every question, whether it's a grammar question, whether it's, whatever, right, don't take a shortcut. Always make sure that you find, evidence for your question and, prove why the other ones are wrong. You have enough time to kind of think, why are the other ones wrong? Always, 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 right, that's another thing. Always read all 4 options, right, because again, you're looking for usually the best option. So if you just, read the first one, like, oh, this is perfect, check, move on, then there might be a better one that's, further along in the answer choices. So always read every answer choice and, prove, why that one's correct and why the other 3 are wrong to fix this kind of error. Another error is overthinking, and this is something that, I think a lot of people do. And basically with this, right, you look at a question, right, and you're like, okay, this is the answer, but then, doubt comes in, right? You're like, oh, what if it's this? What if it's that? And so you basically try to invent, new ideas, or, you just like think too much about the passage. You look too into it. You make inferences, right? You don't make inferences. You want to take the passage for what it says, face value. So, another example would be like saying, what if it's a trick, right? People often like get too much into this habit of like thinking it's like all tricks. But, most of the test is pretty easy, right? Most of the tests are not tricks. Most of the tests are just, objectives. So don't fall into this trap of overthinking. Trust your gut, I'd say, and really take things at face value. Right, this is a very face value test. Right, every question, for a reading question, even if it asks you to make some kind of like inference, like the wording suggests that, they're really just asking you to go in the passage and find like where it says that explicitly. Like, everything will be stated explicitly. Everything is for face value. Don't read too into it. And finally, the last thinking error is second guessing. I kind of mentioned this, right? Basically, right, you change your answer right at the end, even though you have no reason. Okay, and for this one, right, it's a pretty simple fix. Only change your answer if you have a reason, right? If you have a solid reason for why that answer you had before was wrong and this answer is correct, then change it. It's pretty simple. But don't just like keep changing it. Don't second guessing. That wastes time, which is actually one of the execution errors, right? Lacking time. So a lot of people don't really go into the test with like checkpoints in mind, like how many questions they should be at this point, or they don't really go into the test with this idea, the sunk cost fallacy, right? Basically, some people are on a question, right? They spend a lot of time on that question, and so they spend maybe 2 minutes, they're like, oh, I'm still not getting it. And so they just spend a ton of time on the question because it's sunk cost fallacy, right? You spend so much time already on this question, you gotta like finish it now, right? Which is not a good thing to do, right? Because this is time tests. So the real solution is, every question, right, is worth the same amount of points. That's the thing you need to think, right? Every question has the same amount of points, right? No question is worth more just because it's harder. Every question is worth the same number of points. And so if a question is hard, skip it, right? That's as simple as it goes, right? Look at the question, right? For the first 10 seconds, think in your mind, how long will this take me to solve? Can I find a simple solution? Is there like a easy path? If not, skip it, right? If it's a long reading passage, right? Think about how long will this take me to read? If it's within 90 seconds, do it. If it's over 90 seconds, skip it, move on, right? And it's so easy to do this because they highlight which questions you didn't answer, so you can always go back pretty easily to answer the other questions. This is probably the number one tip, I think. Really, skip questions, right? That's my recommendation. Come back to them at the end. Another thing is desmos, right? Misusing that, right? A lot of people use desmos when it's not needed, right? It's harder to use desmos because, doing it by hand is easier, or doing it with desmos is impossible, right? some questions, they're designing questions now that are impossible to do with desmos because they know that people are kind of abusing it. So some questions are impossible to do with desmos, you can't do it with desmos. And another situation, this is less common, is when people don't use desmos when they should be using it. So the fix is really know when to use it. That's kind of like all there is to it, right? Know when you have to use desmos. You know you don't have to. And for this, right, there's a bunch of videos online about people explaining how to use desmos, all the features, all the tools, and also some limitations. So you can find that pretty easily. And finally, the last mistake is, careless execution, right? When you kind of go through a question, but you just carelessly kind of execute the solution. And this is like usually happens when you have like an easy question. And really the fix for this is just having a solid kind of checking process, right? When you're going through your questions, right, and you have review time, make sure you have a kind of solid checklist of things to look for in a review. Like make sure checking that the question is what you thought the question was, that the answer answers the question, that you didn't make any silly mistakes, that kind of stuff, right? Again, back to silly mistakes. But overall, the conclusion, right? These are all different types of mistakes, and because we looked at this, not through this idea that it's a silly mistake, more thoroughly, we're able to figure out what we're usually makes mistakes about. And then the conclusion is, right, because of this, because we know these categories, we are able to improve. Right, that's the conclusion. Know these categories, right, improve by identifying. So I made a video a couple days ago, I think, about this thing called mistake journal, which is how you use this topic to improve. So I'll include that link in the description link below. Basically, the idea is you want to track these mistakes, categorize them, see what mistakes you usually make, and then be more cautious and fix them for the future. Okay? So that's it for today. Let me know which mistake you guys make the most out of these 9. Maybe I'll make a video more specifically on how to fix that. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.